the curtain falls. A few days after the Mt. Glen eruption. Despite the weather, the vital festival was still going. The festival matches was now underway as the huntsmen and huntresses in training. It was an exciting time. Aside from the rain, it's good that the Amity Arena had a convertible roof. My lore so complained to my ass. Teams RWBY and JNPR met up and prepared for their matches. First up was Team RWBY as they start off the festival by, of course, showing off. RWBY led her team to victory, showcasing their team cohesion and combination tactics. Meanwhile, JNPR were giving their 2 cents about the match. Pyrrha, RWBY has some nice ideas about team combos. Nora, we should do that too. Ren, minus the shouting combo names. Nora, but it's so cool. Jaune, Nora, it defeats the purpose of the combo if the enemy knows what you're gonna do. Pyrrha, Jaune's right, it's basically telegraphing, which is a big no in tournaments. They saw Blake kicking Sun in the balls during the fight. Nora, Wince, I wonder what he did to get that treatment? When I witnessed that man stalk Blake for some time. She should think about getting a restraining order. Then we see Weiss combo his partner Neptune by freezing him in a block of ice. Pyrrha, I guess Casanova got a healthy dose of karma. Jaune, what did he do? Pyrrha, he's a womanizer. He tried flirting with me when Weiss played hard to get. Jaune, such shameful actions. That is not how a gentleman should act. Then Team RWBY was declared the winner, and they advanced to the next stage. Team JNPR was called for the next match. Pyrrha, looks like we're up. Nora, yeah, I can't wait to break some legs. Ren, calm down Nora, this is a friendly competition. Jaune, alright, let's show everyone what we can do. They all nod and went down to the arena. Unfortunately, they were being watched. Somewhere in the bleachers. Cinder, so we're gonna see what this man is capable of. Mercury, I heard some grunts talk about a similar-looking man taking them down a few days ago. Emerald, it must be them on a huntsman mission. Cinder, keep your eyes on him. He's an unknown variable in our plans. Mercury, our plans are shot. Can we still even use the Grim? Cinder, I just received word FRR Master that she has a surprise in store for the people of Vale, and it will be on its way. All we need to do is sow chaos. Port, alright, it's Team BRNZ versus our very own Weather Wizards Team JNPR. Karab, what? Jaune, he did. Ren, Dr. Oblek was required to file a report. He recorded your deeds in my Glen. Recordings of Team BRNZ was shown first of their teamwork and combat experience. Many people cheered, especially from their own academy. Then when it was Team JNPR's recording was shown, Jaune looked up to the spectator's booth, and his eyes locked in on Ashbin as he nods to him. Jaune, I guess there's no hiding it now. Well, my past lives had to deal with the title. I'm no exception. Then a replay of Mt. Glen appeared. Many people were shocked and surprised that a volcano came to life after thousands of years. Cinder's attention was piqued as she knows what happened to her breach plans was caused by a freak accident of nature. But why is this being shown? She thought it should showcase Team JNPR's skills. And her eyes widen when she sees the Avatar in action for the first time. Oblek carefully left the part of Adam and the White Lotus out for their sakes. The screen shows Jaune leading Team JNPR in a defensive stance as he creates an air dome against the ash, while his teammates fired upon the raining magma rocks. Many people were impressed at their skills, but their imaginations were blown when they saw their leader walked up to the mountain. And then they saw a miracle happen. Jaune air bends the lava to stop it in its tracks, then he created a massive trench path towards the lake as the remaining lava followed its patching. He then blew everyone in the spectator's seat away when he's shown them he can fly. Many people speculate that if Jaune was a god or something. Cinder was now thinking twice if Jaune was a bigger threat than Ashbin and his maidens are. Recordings show him as a small speck in the sky, but they could still see the results of his actions as they saw Jaune created a massive rainstorm. Then he created a tornado to slowly choke the volcano. Finally, Jaune ends it with a massive windstorm that caused a tremor that made Oblek, who was recoding, to stumble. But he regains his footage, and they made their way to Jaune. Then the final part of the recoding was they saw Jaune standing still with a calm expression, but that wasn't what put them off. It was the glowing white eyes he had, and the recording stops. The arena was silent for a moment until clapping starts to break the silence. From clapping to cheers, then to roars as they all celebrate a triumph against the impossible. Team BRNZ gave their clap despite facing the man who could battle the elements. Port. Alright, let the match begin. Fight. Jaune. Kira, run. Nora, stand by the foot of the mountain and wait for my signal. Kira, you take command of run, and Nora.
Kira, okay. He then flew up on top of the mountain.
Once there, he took a stance as he waved his arms in motion. Mercury. What the hell is he doing? Making hand signs? Cinder. No look. Sparks begin to form into streams of lightning. He then points towards Team BRNZ, who took cover behind the forest only for the trees to catch fire. Oh, Black. Ooh, good thinking about taking cover, but I wouldn't recommend hiding behind trees from a lightning strike. Port. It looks like Mr. Arc is starting this fight with an opening salvo of lightning. Meanwhile, on the bleachers. RWBY, what? When did Jaune learn how to use lightning? Blake. Since that recording that was shown. Weiss. How can he do all this without the support of dust? Young. Look at that. Jaune then waved his hands towards the area with a body of water and created high tide towards the forest, creating a muddy terrain, causing the enemy team to be hindered. May. Come on. These shoes are brand new. Bronze. Stay calm and regroup. Then grenades began landing on their position, forcing the group to scatter. Run picked off Nolan. Kira handled their leader, Bronze. And Nora caused mayhem, preoccupying Roy and May. It wasn't even a competition. Not while Jaune shifts the environment to their favor. Blake. Man, that is so unfair. Young. Yet Johnny Boy can use all elements, heck, even as lightning, that is so cheap. Meanwhile, outside of the arena, the White Lotus was listening in as they were watching out for the White Fan. Ilya. It seems like the Avatar has things handled. Trifa. You owe me 5 lean. Deary. I just wanted the others to have a chance. Team JNPR claimed a landslide of a victory, and the match was Team CRDL. Team CRDL was the underdog as they were early known as the bullies of Beacon, but ever since their change, thanks to some helpful advice, they have become a solid contender. Team FNKI was their opponents. It was Beacon versus Atlas, which Academy has produced the best standard for Huntsmen. Team FNKI was chill and relaxed as they wait for their opponents. And on the other side, Team CRDL enters and surprised the enemy team. Neon. Wow, how outdated. Flint. Don't underestimate them. Those armor and weapons are not for show. Russell. That cat girl is gonna be trouble. Carden. Don't let her goad you into breaking formation. Sky. I'll be the rear guard. Dove. Me and Russell will be the center.
Carden. I'm the vanguard.
Port. What is better? Old versus new. Let this match decide. Fight. Team FNKI went in with a loose formation as they tried taking Team CRDL on one-on-one, but Carden and his team stood firm and got into formation. Team FNKI surrounds them as Carden gave a command. Carden. Porcupine. They made a circle and deployed their shields and set their weapons as spikes, forcing the enemy back.
Neon, what?
Come on. Fight, you chickens. Get out of that little turtle shell. Carden. Maintain formation. He was up to something. Flint was weary and ordered his team to keep their distance. Neon was not having it as she couldn't taunt them. She will harass them into action as she used her roller skates to glide circles over the team and launching attacks. The team fends off the attacks with their shields. Meanwhile, Mercury. What are those idiots doing? Do something. Emerald. And you wonder why you are not leader material. They're goading the Atlassian fools into attacking. Cinder. This team could also be troublesome. She knows CRDL received training from Team JNPR's leader. She glares in Jaune's direction as he observed the match. Flint tried raining in Neon only for Team CRDL to capitalize on their split focus. Carden drew Executioner as he fired a buckshot at Flint, forcing him to block. Carden, disperse. Neon saw this and tried to respond only for a lance to nick her in the face as Sky went for the offensive. Dove went in with his dual swords, and kept close to Ivory. Cobalt tried to back Ivory only for Russell to block the way using his halberd. It was a complete mess as Carden wanted, as he taught his team how to also fight individually. Dove easily subdued Ivory as he prevented the usage of Mecha Shift by stabbing rapidly at the weapon during mid-transformation. Once disarmed, it was all too easy. Cobalt tried to rescue Ivory only for Russell to tackle the shit out of the would-be attacker, taking advantage of the armor weight as it was like hitting the wall. Neon, how are you dinosaurs winning? Sky, because no one cares what a loudmouth thinks. Neon, why you? She was cut off when Sky stopped using the lance and went in for a shield bash and connected with her face. Carden stood against Flint, who released a massive sound blast using his trumpet. The knight was hit head-on as he raised his shield to block the incoming sonic waves. The helmets they donned had some tech like noise cancellation that kept Carden safe. He slowly moves forward while being bombarded. Flint kept blowing into the horn in hopes of blowing Carden away, only for an armored hand to reach out into the trumpet and captured it in a vice grip as it was then crushed like a tin can. Flint looked at his weapon in disbelief, only for him to be bonked over the head with the mace. Port, and there you have it, good old-fashioned discipline, and will power trumps technology and flashy techniques. Team CRDL wins. Oblek. And we now move on to the next years in the duo matches. Team CRDL bowed and left the arena, while paramedics escort Team FNKI out while the next team enters the arena. One prominent second-year team was up. The first member came out, and many from Beacon cheers. Port, the leader of Team CFBY, Coco Adele. She struts out with a sway in her hips and raised her arms, receiving the praises. Oblek, and her partner, the one and only Velvet Scarlatina. The shy little rabbit girl came out from the entrance, but she was not shy anymore. After training with John and learning directly from him about the prerequisite of firebending was willpower and drive. Their training was intense and enlightening. Velvet's new combat attire. Velvet didn't buckle at the gaze and look she received.
Young Wo. I thought Little Bunny was the modest type.
Weiss. She is barely wearing anything. How indecent. Blake has seen worse. RWBY. Maybe it's for mobility's sake. John. Correct. She adopted to a new attire to accommodate with her new abilities. Cinder's interest was piqued. Oblek, and their opponents Emerald Sustrai and Mercury Black of Team CME. Cinder planned to use her team to get info on the new possible Fall Maiden. The wannabe assassin walks up to the arena. He whistled at the girl's new attire. Mercury. Whistle, nice getup. Trying to give me a hard-on? Velvet remained silent as not give him a reaction. Coco. You better watch it, Buster. Emerald. Hey, it's not our problem. Port. Alright, let the battle begin. Velvet kickstarts the match with a fire wave in the shape of a crescent. Mercury ducks, but when he gets his footing, he saw Velvet up in the air with her leg raised up and covered in fire. She came crashing down like a meteor, and axe kicked the area where Mercury was as he dodged for his life. It was time for Emerald to interfere as she used her semblance to give Velvet hallucinations. Velvet, with clear and trained instincts, instantly could tell something was wrong. Using her new powers, she can feel the static in the air indicating movement. She then revealed what new things she learned from her teacher. Mercury was caught off guard as lightning struck the arena and found itself into his prosthetic legs. Emerald couldn't trick her as she was easily handled by Coco, who didn't give her a chance to recover. Cinder's scroll rang as she received a message. It was time for Cinder to make her move. The PA system let out an ear-piercing screech as an annoying voice filled the air. Author's note. We all know how long and obnoxious Cinder's speech is, so let's skip it. If you want to know, just look at the RWBY fandom website or any transcripts for Volume 3. Then suddenly sounds of gunfire rang out as the so-called protectors become the attackers. The Atlassian Knights began shooting at people. The scene are as follows in the video, please give it a watch in description. But suddenly lightning struck as it started to rain. She caught the bullets in mid-air and shielded the civilians from harm. The girl then returned the bullets to their senders. Velvet stood at the defense of the people of Vale. Many were surprised that a faunus would defend humans, but this girl is not a huntress, but even better, she was a firebender. But this time she shows her newfound fierceness by going a step above fire and used lightning. Velvet closes the gap and started dismantling the mindless bots. And in flashes of lightning, she took down the large squad of AKs with ease. She moves from place to place in an instant, landing devastating and thunderous attacks. Velvet, get to the shelters. I will hold this line. She then flashed away in a spark of lightning and kept on the attack as more AKs arrived to reap a body count they will not achieve. All the Huntsman students reacted fast as teams RWBY and JNPR came to the spectators' defense. But suddenly they heard a roar in the sky. The roof was destroyed, letting the rain pour in, and something else with it. Jaune looks up to the sky as he heard that sound before. His eyes slightly glows, but he didn't call upon it for now. It was the Grim Wyvern that came from the volcano. It flew overhead and shed some kind of black liquid. Once the liquid lands on the ground, it took form of Grim of various kinds. Huntsmen and huntresses jumped into action. The invasion has begun. Page end.